machine that there is. We carry people, cargo, spices. Not only are we good for war, but one of the main things is information. Because remember, England is an island. They don't know what's going on in France or Italy or in Cartagena. They have no idea until a ship brings them this information. And of course, we're going to transport people, maybe spies, maybe nobles, things like that. Now, it's important to note that in this time, religion is a very, very big deal. And the power of the time is the Catholic Church. If you were a noble, you didn't get married without the Pope's permission or blessing. You didn't go to war. You didn't make an alliance with anybody unless you had the blessing of the Catholic Church. Now, the Catholic Church's view of the world at this time is that the earth is the center of everything. And the sun and the planets go around it. Is that right? No, not at all. No. How is it right? It's the earth and the planets go around the sun. It's called heliocentrism. It's a new word. Go home, tell it to your mom, your dad. They look really smart because they're going to have to look it up. So the Catholic Church is saying, no, we're the center of everything, and God has made us in His image to rule over it and everything else. So that's a lot of power that the Catholic Church has over you, your afterlife, and the way things work. So along comes a philosopher, mathematician, he was a doctor, his name is Copernicus, and he says, no. I say that the earth goes around the sun. And it solved a whole lot of problems because they thought that the planets did little curlicues around the earth. That was the only way that the heavens made any sense at all. So he came out with this, but he knew that the Catholic Church wasn't going to like it. So he didn't say anything until his deathbed, and then he published it. And that book got into the hands of a man named Galileo. Now Galileo, of course, invented the telescope. And he went to the nobles and to the bishops and the cardinals and the Catholic Church and goes, look, this is how it works. Really, the earth does go around the sun. Not only that, it rotates. Oh, the Catholic Church comes unglued. No. That can't happen. So they tried Galileo in the Great Inquisition. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. But to get out of that, he signed a recantment so that he was able to live and go on. He published a lot of works that went on to Sir Isaac Newton. Now why, oh why, do we care at all about everything I just said? Because as a ship, we navigate by the stars, we tell time by the sun, we navigate by the sun, and the moon moves the oceans in tides. All of that is very much important to how we get from here to there. So there's your introduction. Now I want to introduce you to the captain. But before I do that, at any point in time that you see the captain, you have to give him your obedience. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Everybody, right hand in the air. Finger up. One finger up. Give it a crick. Put it to your forehead. You're going to give a little nod. So I'll try that one more time. Here he comes. So without further ado, Captain Thomas McLaren.
Hello to you all. Thank you, Rat. Welcome to the dock site of the Dauntless. The Dauntless is a 1580s privateering vessel. Do you know what a privateer is? Do you know what a pirate is? But you don't know the difference. The difference be this. A privateer has a letter of marque from the monarch. In this case, Queen Mary of Scots has given us license to plunder, pillage, harass, take, sink, or burn enemy vessels of the crown. Now, will we be sinking or burning them? Not so much, because we are paid nothing for this service. The crown pays us nothing for this service, but we do get to keep what we take. Legalized piracy, if you will. So we'll not be sinking and burning if I have anything to say with it, because the cargo is our pay. We don't want it going to the bottom. So we are a legitimate servant to the crown. Now then, as you come aboard for the tours, you'll talk to various stations and find out about navigation, the cargo that we have. You like treasure, do you? Aye. Did you know one of the treasures we carry is a bug? Aye, you'll learn about that. And you'll learn about the gunnery. And you'll learn about shipboard medicine. Is anybody feeling ill? Are you not feeling well, lad? Sore arm? We could take that off in a trice. Aye. So you don't want to be getting sick aboard ship. It's not a healthy thing. But you'll meet with our doctor, and she'll talk to you a bit about shipboard medicine in the 1580s. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Then shortly here I'll welcome you aboard, and you'll see some of the nautical tools, the nautical skills, the nautical terminologies, many of which are still used to this day. Now this, I will make you a loud bang with. Did you like the cannon fire? No? This is a wheel-lock pistol. This dates back to 1520s. This is one of the first pistols ever made. It uses a clock mechanism that winds internally a spring to turn this wheel, which strikes the spark in the flash pan, igniting the powder that I just put in there with this, which goes through a small hole into the barrel, igniting the powder in the barrel, pushing out the ball to the target. Now there's no ball in this, but we'll see if it fires. Are you ready?
Yep. Boom.
Oh, not so much. Which is why the gun is shaped the way it is. Because now I have to get out my key, pull the hammer back, rewind it, which spills all the powder, put the hammer back down, reprime it, and try it again. Do you think that the enemy is waiting for me? Hold on there, lad. I'll be right with you. Just right there. Just take your time. It's all right. Not so much, eh?
Okay.
Fire in the hole. That was where the term flash in the pan comes from. All flash, no bang. Permission granted.
Lords and ladies, we are most pleased that you are with us this day. I be Carolyn Brooks, the Children's Librarian at this awesome library. We have many activities happening today. We will be doing tours aboard the ship. We will be starting up the face painting in just a moment. We have dockside sales, raffles, and contests involving lollipops. Our used book sales in the library, and when you hear us banging and clanging and asking you to come to story time, we'll be dragging you willy-nilly into the library for pirate story time.
Understand, when you cross this dock, you transfer from your time to ours. Very good? Now, let's try this one more time. Fire in the hole.
And the crowd goes wild!
Welcome aboard the Nonsense.
All right, you're all
I'll do
with
the
me
next
then.
three.
I'm Rat. Now, first thing I'm going to point out to you here is barrels.
That's a good thing.
Everything that is stored on the ship is stored in a barrel.
Permission granted.
You know why they're stored in barrels? Anyone have an idea? Think it saves space?
One for you, one for the ship.
This way, lad.
That's because we can store these on their sides and stack them up. And even you could take this barrel, knock it on its side, and roll it around. So how many people would it take to lift up a crate? Probably 4. I can move all this with one.
This barrel, one man can flip it on its side and roll it around. There's a method called a car buckle, which actually puts 2 hoops of rope around this. We can actually get this to walk up the side of the ship, which is 2 by 2. So it's much easier to carry cargo. So for liquid items, we would have to put over. We would be skilled at putting together a barrel so that it would hold liquids. Or we'd have dry cookers that would have to handle dry goods as well. Now water is carried in larger barrels, about 75-gallon barrels called mutts. You'll heard the term scuttlebutt. Talking around the scuttlebutt. Well, a butt is a large barrel for water, and to scuttle it is to knock out the top so that the sailors can ladle out water, which was about the only place a sailor was allowed to talk freely. They could exchange information around the scuttlebutt. That's where the term comes from.
Welcome to the bow of the ship. The bow, for you lubbers, is the front of the ship. And what we have here is my bow chaser. The purpose of the bow chaser is to fire at the stern of a fleeing enemy vessel. And quite frequently, just by firing a warning shot at them, they would surrender because they know that we mean business. But if they don't surrender, then we're going to fire for effect and take out rigging and hopefully slow them down so we can come up alongside and eventually board them. All right. Now there's different types of shot that we use for doing that. So I rigged up a round ball. That's a 3 to 4 pound ball for this gun. This is a small gun. This is the smallest cannon we have. It's called a Falconet. This 3 to 4 pound ball. And that's got our longest range. So we start out with that. All right. Eventually, hopefully take out some rigging, tackle, and whatnot. Then we'll switch to the chain shot. The chain shot, when it's fired, will spread and spin. It turns into a saw flying through the air, and that will cut through even the largest mainmast with ease. And a ship without a mast can't get away from us. All right. So once we've taken out the mast, we come up alongside. We can open up a grape shot. Now this is a canvas bag full of grape-sized lead balls. When that's fired, the bag will disintegrate and the grape shot will spread out. This greatly reduces their enthusiasm to fight us when we have dozens of these flying across the decks. Right? So we're firing grape shot across their decks. Now we're also within range of the swivel guns. You see the swivel gun here on the rail? This could be loaded with grape shot, also rusty nails, broken glass, crushed shell, that sort of thing. Also along the rail we might have muskets and pistols. In the tops we have archers, not guns. Guns produce fire. We don't want fire near our sails. All right, so we have archers up there, firing arrows down into the deck. All right. At this point we've come into close range. We have 18-foot pikes along the rail. And this also reduces enthusiasm to fight. You'll note that term. We use that a lot. All right. We'll also have sailors with grappling hooks and lines to catch their rail, bring the ships together, and we're ready to board. All right. Once we board, it falls to the sword, axe, hammer, even a belay pin if that's all you've got.
Top line or knot line, because it's a long line with knots in it. We're not that imaginative. They take this to the side of the ship or the stern of the ship, and one has a 28-second hourglass, and one holds it just like this. The other one puts this, which is called a drogue, in the water. And when he does that, he turns over his 28-second hourglass and lets it go for 20 seconds. Afterwards, the person would say dip and stop the rope. Then they just reel it back in and they count the knots. And that would actually tell us how fast the ship is going. Now it's really easy to turn the wheel because we're in port. But out there we're fighting against the sea and the wind. So keep turning. Somebody on the
traverse board. Okay. First off, down here is a speed log. So for the first half hour, I was going 4 knots. I just count the number of spots and record that through the 8 bells of the watch. And then for the direction, I just to the compass, I was going north by east the first half hour, north by east the second half hour. The navigator can then take this and record it on a chart and make a log.
About a letter of marque, it was explaining that is permission from the Queen, from the sovereign, that she gives us to harass her enemies and take their ship's prize. Now, some of these poor Spaniards, they were already sinking when they got there. So we tried to fire a couple of warning shots at them, but they didn't notice that they were sinking. So none of the officers survived. It was very sad, but we did manage to obtain a lot of this. So now this is going to be part of the Queen's portion that we will pay for her. She asks for 18% of our take. So and this is a wonderful source of revenue for her, and she doesn't pay to outfit our ship at all. Now here are some of the spices that you see here. some of these very rare peppercorn. How many of you have pepper on your table at home? Would you believe that pepper used to be worth more than gold?
Yeah.
Okay. How about that? Cochineal. This comes from a bug. And this is one of the few dyes that produce a very vibrant red. And it's very, very expensive, and that's why generally only the royalty wear red.
I could also, if you got hit on the head, I could also drill a hole in your pin's ear, and I thought that that let out the evil air that was making you sick. But what it really did was it released pressure in your brain, so it actually could work sometimes and make you better. They still do this nowadays, but they do it under sterile conditions with anesthesia. At that time, they didn't have any anesthesia, so they had to use alcohol, or they did have laudanum, which was a medicine, pain medicine. And they had to have several surgeons' mates to hold someone down in order to use this. Scissors, and I have needles to sew you up, and knives. And I make bandages. I make my own bandages. A hot poker and put it in the fire and put it on the cut to close up the cut. Or the other way, I would take boiling oil and pour it on the cut and close up the cut. Until an army surgeon named Dr. Perret ran out of boiling oil in battle, and he had just a needle and thread to sew his clothes, so he used the needle and thread to sew up the cut, and he noticed that the patient didn't scream as loudly for one thing, and also did much better, so that was the beginning of getting stitches.
Now when carrying a rapier in the right hand, you might carry something called a main gauche in the left hand. So this would be something that we would fight with to give us a little bit of an advantage over our opponent, and also to use it as a little extra blocking, right? Now you'll notice that it's got the guard here around both blades to prevent the blades from coming down while I'm fighting and cutting off my fingers. You wouldn't be able to hold a sword if you didn't have a fingers, would you? No. Now the other blade that you'll see here is called a broadsword. The broadswords would have been used more by the military and used when actually trying to kill someone, because these are more of a hacking weapon. So you're trying to cut off arms, legs, and things like that, right? And without the benefit of the surgeon's nice saws. So this is called a broadsword. Now, steel in this time was very expensive, so if I was fighting with this broadsword, and let's say you can see here all of the nicks, eventually the sword's going to break. So what I'm going to do is when that tip breaks off, I'm going to take that tip and I'm going to turn it into dirk. And again, the dirk is a weapon that you would carry in your left hand while fighting with the right hand. So all of these weapons that we have out, actually, they would have had aboard ship, but they would have been locked up because of the chance of mutiny, of course. The biggest blade that a sailor would have carried would have been about this size. You can't really mutiny with a blade this size now, can you? So they would have used this for eating or cutting ropes and things of that nature. But all of these would have been locked up, and the only people with the key would have been the captain and maybe the gunner's mate.
But they're going to be like this. To take on that horse charge. Most horses wouldn't charge into the pointy things, but some are trained to do so. So we've got a line of men to take out the horse.
No, it doesn't move.
Behind that line, we've got another line of men to take out the rider.
Fire 8 down!